Why project-based learning? Everybody's been talking about what is PBL. PBL is nothing but a teaching strategy that helps teachers and students to incorporate 21st century learning skills such as creativity, collaboration, communication, and just allows the students to have their own choice and voice in the project process. Project-based learning always starts with the driving question. Driving question is a big idea, a question that is connected to the real life, and students have to solve that problem. Students then go through the process of what they know on the topic, and then they come up with questions, their wonderings about the topic, so their own inquiry. Then the students research on the questions that they've come up with related to the topic. So for example, in grade 2, we're learning about how does change impact us and the environment. Once the students have come up with their own questions to find out, they go through the whole research process and they find out information through various sources such as the newspaper, the internet, books, magazines, wherever they can find information from. After that, they sort out the information and they decide how they want to present their work to the audience. It could be through a PowerPoint, a model, a poster board, flyer, anything that they would like to show their audience at the end of the process. The whole process also incorporates 21st century learning skills. Those are the soft skills that prepare students for jobs that do not exist. For example, communication, teamwork, creating.
When you're spraying pesticides, you're killing bees, and you're not just harming bees, you're harming yourself. So please stop using these things. We will die if bees are dying. The first solution we can make to save the bees are, first, stop using pesticides so that it doesn't kill bees. It doesn't only kill bees, it kills also worms and other bugs. The next solution to save bees is stop cutting down trees.
So students work on a project over an extended period of time. So they are engaged in solving a real-world problem, and they demonstrate their knowledge and their skills in a context of a meaningful project.
So our project is based like how to sustainably cycle water. So we have to create a city that cycles water because many people in the world don't have enough water. They have to walk like 8 hours to get water. Also, 97% of the Earth's water is salty water, and 2% is ice in Antarctica, and 1% is fresh water. And many people in Indonesia suffer to get water, so they drink the toxic water because of the factories. They pour water in the lake, which they'll take the lake water and drink it, which it has a lot of toxic. So we're trying to create a city that sustainably cycles water. So this is our city. We're going to be adding these pipes to save up the water. And a water tank which saves up the water, which will save up the water to you could use it for many stuff.
The question that you may think, that you may ask yourself, that why PBL, why problem-based or project-based learning versus traditional way of learning? What I see now as an educator and a teacher of grade 4, it is much more enjoyable and beneficial to my students to give them to think about a problem and give them the choice and let them think critically and try to find solutions and then self-reflect if it works, if it doesn't, and why. This will actually encourage them to be model citizens for a 21st century versus a traditional way of teaching or learning that they are told what do they need to know, they memorize it, and then they will come up with very similar conclusions. Now, what's really good about project-based learning, they all come up with different solutions. They all contribute. It doesn't matter. If this student can speak English or the student cannot speak English. They all have their solutions. They design it. They see if it works or not. They contribute to their community. They reflect and see, was my solution is the best solution and why? And that's what we want from our students, to start to think rather than just receive knowledge.
Okay, this is our prototype. It's basically like this. It only filters the water. Next part of the project, we're making a distillation system, like that can be made in villages and stuff where they don't have like purification systems or stuff. So they can build this in the ground also, like with sand and dirt, and they can use materials that they can find anywhere. And so the way this distillation system works is when it condenses, all the dirt, like it goes out from the water and then it falls back into a container to make it clear water.
I believe the best way to go in defining the PBL is to go by the famous saying, tell me and I'll forget, teach me and I'll remember, and involve me and I will learn. And I believe this is an effective tool, especially with young learners. So the more we have hands-on, the more we involve our students, the better the learning experience and the longer that it'll stay in their memory and their minds. So in our PBL in grade 5, the driving questions this year, the first unit, it was how would you as an inventor develop and introduce purifying agents that will help meet the needs of the society in the UAE, creating their own graphic novel, whether it's a soft copy online, using the Pixton program. They did a great job. And the other half of the students, they created their own hard copy, also using small characters, creating their splash pages, using ambient sounds, a table of contents, glossary, to convey specific message. And the message that the target that we're all worked toward, it was a dilemma that we came up with just to create that situation that they're trying to solve, which is imagine if in the UAE we ran out of purifying agents.
Now, looking at PBL, a lot of people think, well, what's the point of having a PBL? There's huge merit to having a PBL. Students output their skills that they have learned for a various period of time, and they're using it in real-world solutions, problem solving, as well as coming up with becoming innovators to envision things in the next decade or so.
And every child learns differently, and so they're allowed to, if they wanted to take the science track, or if they want to show us what they learned through a math track or through an English track, they get to do it with their strength.
So the purpose of PBL is the students will look at a huge question, and throughout the unit, that question is taught introduced from the beginning until the end of the term, and the students are investigating. So while they are using curriculum, they are intertwining this with a real world issue.
And integrating curriculum all across helps them picture their end in mind, so they already knew the big question from the beginning of a semester, and then we all kind of worked towards it and broke it down, and we're really excited to showcase what they've learned next week.
And for us, I think we can agree that it's different now because the students, when they're going through a PBL, they're not merely just looking at skills and then looking at a skill for a test, but they're looking at these skills and looking at a long term where they can apply it in everyday life.